Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm coming at you today from very sunny Hawaii to bring you today's video, which is on how to be a better friend to someone with a mental illness. Today's video is kind of a follow-up on my first video, which was how to cope with depressive episodes. Now, after that video was posted, a really good friend of mine suggested that my next video should be for those of us who don't have mental illnesses, but who want to be better friends or more supportive. Because there are so many types of mental illness out there, and because every one of these illnesses will affect different people differently, I advise you to take what I say with a grain of salt. I can only share from my own personal experiences. If there is someone in your life who you are trying to support better in their mental health journey, I would advise you to ask them what would help them best. That brings me to my first point, and that first point is to ask us questions about our mental illness. There are so many amazing mental health organizations and charities that give you information on different types of mental illnesses. Now, the only downside there is that you might get information overload. If you are too busy to sift through all these websites and you're not sure which information is most accurate, the best thing you can do when supporting someone with a mental illness is to ask them questions about their particular illness. Now, you can ask them, what is X disorder? Or how does X disorder affect you personally? And from then on, you can ask more personal questions like, how do you feel right now? Or what can I do to make things better? Now, for example, someone with depression might not have an answer to the question, what can I do to make you feel better? And if that's the case, I can suggest offering them support through companionship by sending them funny memes or cute animal pictures. Just try and stay with them and support them and reassure them that they are not alone. So just to recap, asking us questions about our mental illness is a really helpful first step in understanding how our brains work and how our mental illness affects our thinking process. My second piece of advice is to be patient. For those of us who have a mental illness, our brains don't always function in the same way that a neurotypical person's brain will function. Someone who has a mental illness may not be able to process information in the same way as a healthy brain. For example, I know that when my depression acts up or when I'm having an anxiety attack, I'll know the rational response, but my brain will simply be unable to act in that manner. For example, when it comes to my anxiety, I have certain triggers, and the biggest trigger for my anxiety is loud, overwhelming public spaces. So what I mean by that is a very busy bar or a very loud pub can really trigger my anxiety. So please be patient. Just know that our brains are sometimes sick and our brains sometimes can't function the way that we hope they would. We are struggling every day to get better, and we just need some extra support and some extra patience to help us on our mental health journey. My third piece of advice for how to be a better friend to someone with a mental illness is to really truly listen to us. Not only listen to us, but acknowledge the way we're feeling and validate our feelings. There is nothing more discouraging than having your feelings invalidated. And by that I mean to be vulnerable and open and share with someone how you're feeling, and then to have someone dismiss those concerns or say, oh, why are you worried about that? Or, oh, you're making a big deal over nothing. That especially is something that stresses me out so much. I think that a lot of people with mental illnesses, including myself, can often feel crazy or burdensome on our loved ones. And there is no worse feeling in the world than feeling like you are a burden on those you care about the most. So if you can, please reassure us that we are loved, we are needed, and we are cared for. if you can, just give us some extra love and care, and please just listen to us, and as I said before, be patient. Sometimes all we need is someone to listen to us and reassure us that we are loved and needed and cared for. My fourth tip for how to be a better friend to someone with a mental illness is to help us stay on track with our recovery. Routine is really important when it comes to overcoming a mental illness, and there are often things that we identify that we can and cannot do in our mental health journey. For example, you can ask yourself, is my loved one taking medication as prescribed? Is my loved one making it to therapy appointments? When it comes to mental health, personal responsibility is a really, really big thing. No one can force us to take our medication. No one can drag us to our therapy appointments. At the end of the day, that's all up to us. But sometimes we could really use a helping hand. So if you can, help us stick to our routines. Routines are really important. So just to recap, help us stay on top of our routine if you can. Reminders to take medication or to go to therapy appointments, reminders to drink water and eat healthy meals and exercise. And another thing you can do is to try and get us involved in social activities. Sometimes people with a mental illness will try to isolate themselves or withdraw, and they won't come to social events. But please keep reminding us, because one day we will feel mentally stable enough to socialize again, and we'd really appreciate having a friend group to support us and to laugh with us and to help us on our journey. My last piece of advice is very simple, but it is deceptively simple, and that advice is to love us and to accept us. Those of us with mental illnesses, including myself, can feel really down sometimes. We know that our brains don't function the way they're supposed to, and we know that our brains are sick. So, especially for me, sometimes I feel crazy or burdensome, and sometimes I feel like my loved ones would be better off if I wasn't there to stress them out or to bring them down. Just know that this is absolutely untrue. And if you care for someone with a mental health illness, I'm sure you feel that way too. Please just remind us that we are loved, we are cared for, and we are needed. That is all I have for you for this video. I hope you learned some tips for how to be a better friend to someone with a mental illness. If there's something that I've missed talking about in this video, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day.